All right, moving right on. Practicing solidarity, solidarity and mental health. We are members of the BCC community dedicated to connecting the dots between access to healing and social justice. All are welcome to participate. We are invigorated by diversity of thought. We are calling on the community to join us in walking up, standing up, and lifting up the needs of our most marginalized. Our purpose: empower discussion, engaging with like-minded individuals, creating community, a secure and inclusive environment for the youth and young adults within the queer community, hearing about mental health challenges faced by the LGBTQ members, and advocacy for more robust support systems. Our first speaker. Are we excited about our first speaker? Let's get pumped up for our first speaker, DeAngela Cooks. Yes. What is a safe space? DeAngela is a seasoned public speaker for over 20 years, excels as a master of ceremonies, I'm in trouble, and workshop facilitator in diversity, equity, and inclusion, with diverse experiences as a Black queer parent, minister, and stand-up comic. She enriches her work with eloquence, humor, and authenticity, embracing her intersectional identities.
Okay. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, y'all? What's up? We're like what? Thank y'all for working on this back here. So, before we begin, I'm going to do a few things here. First, it's really important that we welcome our ancestors into this space. Okay? Okay? And so we want to make room for them, that they are here with us, they're guiding us, right? Of course, the good ones, because some of our ancestors weren't the best. Let's be honest, right? So we're asking them to be here with us, and we want to thank them for laying a foundation and trailblazing for us to be here today. So I just want to say that first, okay? The second thing I want to say is that we are on Ohlone land, the first people, indigenous people's land, and I want to honor them. Every time I walk around, I know who was here first, okay? All right, and the third is that we stand with people across the globe who are facing oppression in every facet, at home, in the streets, the genocide in Gaza. We are with you, okay? So I want to say that, okay? Now, y'all ready? All right, let's go. All right, thank you. All right, so first I'm going to thank Berkeley City College students for getting this together. Hand clap for y'all, please, first of all. Woo! All right, and so you all have been organizing. I can see when I walked in, I haven't eaten any food yet, but because I be getting the BGs, I'm not going, y'all know what that is, right? Y'all like, that's nasty. Yes, I'm gonna eat after. So thank y'all so much. When I first came in here, is their name Tyler? Thank you. Glo's here. We'll introduce Glo. But when I came in, Tyler was so welcoming, so I want to thank Tyler as well. You have the right person working that right there, right? I I didn't meet you yet, so I'm sorry. I didn't comment on you. You weren't there, I don't think, but. Okay, all right. And I don't know Lola, but they were looking for Lola, and I hope they found you. Lola, you here? Oh, that's you. Lola. Thank you, Lola, for that beautiful introduction. It's a pleasure to be up here with you. All right. The second thing is, I think I saw Shanna, right? I see Shanna. What's up, Shanna? My colleague here from Pacific Center. What's up, Shanna? All right. And we have a second mic for you. Yes, yeah, this is for you, girl. Glow, shout out for Glow. Shout out to Glow. Amazing. I worked with Glow for a couple of years, and at my previous company that I ran, I co-founded the Momentum Collaborative, which was an international anti-racism firm. And we had Glow as one of our main people, and rocking with me at my new company that I started called Voice and Vision. You want to say something?
Yeah, hi everybody, good morning. Can y'all hear me? Glow, I use she, they pronouns. I'm really grateful to be here. I support DeAngela at Voice and Vision as their program manager, and I also work at the Pacific Center, so at the end of the keynote and panel discussions, I'll be at the table back there giving y'all some resources, information about Pacific Center. Just grateful to be here, grateful that this is an opportunity that we all get to be in fellowship with each other and gain resources and learn from one another, so thank you.
Awesome, sweet. Shout out to Glow. Glow. All right. And so I put my timer on right now, so I got it. Thank you. So my company is an equity-based communications firm, right? And so we do these talks, workshops, things like that. And we also, in particular right now, we are doing a coaching scope for queer professionals, right, who are in spaces and are like, you know what, I need some assistance. It has an intersectional lens. So that's what we do, and a lot of other stuff. Go check us out, all that, all right? All right, y'all ready to start, for real? Yes. All right, y'all you said that 3 times. Come on, let's go. All right. So what is a safe space? That's the title of my talk today. And so, when I got, I'm sorry, shout out to both Joes, 2 Joes that were on the AV team. First of all, thank y'all so much, been really helpful. And as well as Janine. Janine was spot on, very just on the back end, organizing, very responsive, communicative, and I thank you, Janine. I feel like it's my cousin for some reason, I'm not sure why, right? All right. So when I got the theme of safe spaces for queer faces, right? I was just like, yeah, I got this. I got it. Yep, I'm gonna start writing this down. I got it. And the more I started thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute, I don't have it. I don't have it, right? Because the list kept getting longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, and I was getting overwhelmed with it. And so then I said, when we say we want a safe space, what are we asking of the space, right? What are we asking? To be comfortable, be able to express ourselves? What are we talking about here? So I kept thinking about safe spaces, and I'm like, okay, when have I felt safe in a space, and when have I not? Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm gonna give y'all 3 scenarios, so hopefully you can work with me, right? I got 50 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep y'all engaged. It's a lot of talking, right? And I'm gonna get tired of my voice in a second, just so you know.
We're with you.
You with me? Hallelujah. What's your name?
Rachel.
All right, Rachel. Shout out to Rachel for being with me. All right, so what is a safe space? So for me, I grew up in Southern California, Pomona in particular. Yeah, no, it's not sexy. I know, got it. Y'all like, great. And I grew up in 1982. I was born in 1982. I'm an 80s baby. I'm 42 years old, right? And I'm telling y'all, the 40s is the bomb. If you're not there yet, or if you already done it, I'm telling you, it's where it's at. So keep staying alive, okay? And so I grew up, and I was a youth minister at an AME church, right? Anybody know what AME stands for? Uh-huh. What? African Methodist Apostle. Exactly. What's your name? Tracy. Tracy? Yeah. Tracy and Rachel. Got it. Okay. All right. African Methodist Episcopal Church, right? Prim AME. That's me when I was like 18. right? And so Prim AME was started a long time ago, but the founder of AME, which, I just told you what the acronyms were, was founded by Richard Allen. Richard Allen was a previous enslaved man, right, in the 1700s, okay? And he was going to a Methodist church. It was all like white folks and it was racist. And he was like, hey man, like I'm trying to talk to God and y'all over here doing this thing and it ain't working. You messing it up for me, right? I'm translating, I don't know what he said, right? Obviously, I wasn't there, right? And so he was like, I want to experience this connection with God without this racism and white supremacy. So then he started African Methodist Episcopal Church, which was the first branch off into religion that was based off of race in America, right? And so he founded the first AME church in Philadelphia in 1794. Okay, and I visited this place too. It's still standing, okay? And so he created this church, and then what happened was that then I was like, you know what? He wanted free black people to come so that they can not have the racial oppression lens on them, and he wanted enslaved black folks to be there as well so they could have a modicum of dignity, right? And this is the history of the church I grew up in. So fast forward, a youth preacher, and basically, so he created a safe space. That's what I'm talking about. He created a safe space. So here I am, started preaching at 13, 14 years old. Welcome, y'all. Good to have you. 13, 14 years old, and I started preaching, and I love the Bible. I love the stories. And I was like, oh, some of these stories is interesting, so I was struggling with it, too. And so then, around 17, 18, I started coming into my gender expression, right? So I had a lot of piercings happening. Right? At the labret, I had the tongue piercing, at the eyebrow, I was getting down. All right? And it's my granddaddy's shirt right here. I loved wearing his button-down shirts. I had on like jeans, I would sag, and I had on sandals. I don't know where that came from, okay? California, there you go. Oh, yes. Right, California, right? And I'd be in the pulpit wearing this. Okay, every time. And it kind of blew up with this young preacher who was kind of radical out here. I started preaching in different churches in LA. My mom hated that I dressed like this, first of all, right? And so what happened was that, I know this is exceptionally rare, but I was in church, and I'm saying gay because, language is also generational, right? Now we say queer, right? And so when I teach this, I do say queer, but I'm gonna say gay for me because this is my story. Amen? All right, thank you very much. So I was gay as hell, okay? Preaching, and I did not have anybody, from my experience, anybody that was like treating me different or judging me. I did not feel that at all. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't happening, but I didn't feel it, and that was exceptionally rare. Then I went to school and got my undergrad in philosophy and religion. I was going to go all the way with this thing, right? And my last year of school, they sent us on a trip to Barcelona, Spain, to the Parliament of the World's Religions, where the Dalai Lama was slated to speak. He called in sick. Right. I was like, what? You Dalai Lama, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to him too, by the way. Right. My church, all the elders pulled together. They donated money to send me and my gay self, right? So what am I talking about, right? Because religion, a lot of religion, has been known to historically cause astronomical violence on our communities in particular. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it doesn't, right? But I found safety in a space that has been historically unsafe for us because I found safe people there, right? So sometimes we are in unsafe places and we can find an anchor and they become safe, right? Maybe you found some of those people here, right? How we doing? We good? All right, thank you. Shout out the back. What's your name with the beanie on? Huh? Say it again for me. Shout out to y'all too. And save me a nice plate if you can before everybody eat it. I don't have any dietary restrictions at all, so just make it work if you can. Just playing. All right, second example for me was that I grew up a little bit, right? Got a little older. I'm like, you know what? Pomona is not where it's at. I need to be gay, right? And so I was like, my girlfriend from the same area, lived up here, was going to school at State, and she was like, why don't you come up here with me? And I was like, okay, right? My first love, fell in love so hard, and then we broke up, because, that's what happens when you move away from somebody, right? And so then after that, I was like, I'm about to wall out then. I'm single, let's hit it. And then pride hit, right? And that's the time where you can really wall out, because it's pride. You want to be prideful, right? And so, went to Pride. After I was like, 29, I don't know how old I was. We want to go to the club. So my homegirls came up here to visit. I said, okay, we want to go to the black club, the black gay club, right? And so there was this, I forgot what it's called, but it was in Oakland. And we got there, it was predominantly cisgender, a black male gay club. We went in there, it was cracking, they had the go-go dancers, and they had boots on and socks, and a backpack. I don't know, it was all kind of different outfits was on, right? It was cracking. And so we get there, get my drinks, I was drinking Hennessy at the time, not that that matters. And so, started making out with somebody that I came with, right? So all of a sudden, there was a security guard, buff security guard that came and saw us and said, hey, you know what? We can't do that here. Y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go. I didn't have the consciousness, the awareness, the words to understand what was going on, but what was happening is that there was misogyny going on inside this cisgender black male gay club. A place that I thought was going to be safe because I'm black and I'm gay. And then I encountered misogyny. So I was like, whoa, this is not safe for me, okay? Third scenario. I know some researchers, and we talk about a lot of this stuff, and they were talking about in particular how across the nation there are a lot of LGBTQ queer youth-centered organizations that are predominantly white-centered, right? So when you have QT, BIMPOC, queer, trans, black, indigenous, multiracial, people of color, that's a lot of, okay, I need some water, hold on. Hold on, y'all. When you have QT, BIMPOC youth that frequent these places, it's not being culturally responsive to their needs, so they go out the door, right? So that is a space that was supposed to be curated for safety, right? But it's not speaking to people's totality of their experiences. Okay? All right. Next thing here is that, so now we're going to switch gears, is when we are talking about a safe space, what are some key components of it, right? So now, we don't have an exhaustive list right now, but for me, here are 3 components. First one is physical safety. When I first come into a place, I say, hey, okay, am I under attack? Do I have to ward off anything? Is there anybody who I feel like is trying to cause me harm? As human beings, we are hardwired to assess the safety of a space, period, right? For me, I'm masculine of center. I'm black, masculine of center. And when I come into a place, the first thing I look for is maleness in particular, right? And cisgender men, if I can identify them, because that has been historically what I come across when it comes to physical safety, where they're trying to test out my masculinity. Oh, you think you a man, huh? No, I don't. I mean, if I did, so what? Right? And then what they do oftentimes is with the woman that's feminine presenting, they feel is attractive, I'll be invisible to them, and they'll try to come on to them, and then dare me to say something or do something, right? Physical safety. And then I'm black. So when I come into space, I immediately be like, where the black folks at? Right? I do that. Because that's also letting me know am I okay to be here with my black gay self, right? So if those things are checked off, so I don't have to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We all know what those are, right? The fawn is the kind of newer one. Y'all know, y'all go to school. Okay, I see what's happening. Like, we've been doing this. You new to it. All right. Then you have psychological safety, which is next. Okay? So that for me is when I come into a space, are my thoughts, opinions, and how I'm expressing myself, is it being affirmed in here? Okay? So, for example, when I come in here, do I see gender-neutral bathrooms, right? When I first got here, Tyler, it was like pronouns, right? Setting the tone for it, okay? Is there an elevator here, right? Is there a language interpreter? We have closed captioning if we're on Zoom, right? Do we have those kinds of things? All that will let me know that me and other people who have historically excluded identities are welcomed here, okay? The third one here is emotional safety. That one's hard, right? Because it's like, okay, can I be vulnerable here? Can I tell parts of myself that may not be the best, right? And oftentimes we were hearing like, bring your whole self, bring 100% of yourself. When you have an intersectional identity, that's not safe. I bring about 90, maybe 80% of myself, right? So these are, for me, some markers of safety when I come into a place, and there's a lot more. So I'm gonna pause here because I'm gonna tell y'all a story that I really need y'all to pay attention to, because I need you all to identify if any 3 of these layers of safety have been breached and how. Can we do that? Yes. All right, cool. Let me see how we're doing on time. What we doing, Glo? Oh, cool. All right. So, I am a therapist, okay? And I graduated in 2017. And so I went to practicum. Y'all know what practicum is for accounts? Right, okay. Why am I even here? Y'all know all this already. So anyway, I had a practicum site at that church across from Whole Foods in Oakland. What's that church called? Y'all know? Was it First Church? Mm-hmm. I think so, right? So it was in the back, and we had a part of the building. And so, the practicum's for a whole year, and you don't get paid. No, you don't get paid. And you're seeing clients often, every day, right? And so, it's about 20 or 30 trainees that I am working with, and we have a clinical director. And she's cisgender, straight, white, about mid to late 60s. So we come in, and then we get a code of conduct book, right? I'm like, all right, cool, that's all right. And she gives it to us, and it says things like, you can't wear leggings. See, I see your face, right? You're like, I love leggings. You can't wear open-toe shoes, so my sandals wouldn't have worked, right? And then you can't wear like scents, right? So that could trigger someone. Makes sense. All right, cool. So about 6 months in, so every Tuesday we have community gatherings, right? And so basically that means where we are like doing rituals together, spiritual rituals, meditating. We really know each other at 6 months in. We talk about our kids and all kinds of stuff. So we have a relationship. So check this out. 6 months in, we're in a meeting, and I come in, I have a Paisley baseball hat on that matches my Paisley Vans, right? You like Paisley? All right there. Shout out to Paisley. I did think I was cute. I had a little short fade. I was like, wait a minute, I'm kind of the bomb. And so we're sitting there, and the clinic director looks at me, points me out, and says, we can't wear that here. Right? Come on.
It immediately breaches like a sense of like emotional safety because they're not willing to be vulnerable, they're not willing to think about others or how we
Yes.
or how different cultures can diverge and how it's more important to just not give a shit sometimes and let things go.
Exactly. Thank you. Right. So you immediately picked up on that, right? Immediately. What's your name?
Ivy?
Ivy?
Yeah, Ivy.
Ivy, love that. Thank you for hopping in. So exactly, okay? My emotional safety was breached. And so I was confused. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? So she doubled down and says, you can't wear that hat here. Mind you, my homegirl next to me, who's straight, Filipino, feminine presenting, had on leggings, right? And had on open-toe shoes, right? The person next to me had some Gucci perfume, who I could smell, right? And mind you, it says nothing in the handbook about not wearing hats, right? But she pointed me out. So then I had 3 allies that stood in the way, in a good way. And there were 3 white folks, right? All from the East Coast. 1 was trans, 2 were straight, cisgender women. And they said, no, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that today. No, right? And they called her to task, and they said, why can't she wear the hat? Can you guess what she said? It ain't professional? Yes, right. But she got even a little more dirty than that. Ivy, come on.
It doesn't respect like the rules and like the people values you have in the space. You're kind of not representing the right values. You're representing the wrong type of culture in our place, and you can't have that.
Right. So it was yes, but it was even more simple than that. Ivy's hitting it back here.
Because you're in a church?
Because I'm in a church. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That could have been it. Thank you. Huh? Boom. You said, say it loud for.
She thought you were in a gang.
Thought I was in a gang. She's, yeah. If Pablo was here, he's Pablo here? Because he was there when it happened. No, he ain't here. Okay. They said, why can't she wear the hat? She says, because hats are affiliated with gangbanging.
Your face?
Paisley hats, I guess. Right, and Vans, right? And so that was really shocking to me because all of a sudden, the 6 months of relationship that we had went out the window because of stereotypes of people who look like me, right? Just superseded what she knew of me. She knew I wasn't a gang-banging clinician. She knew it. She knew it, right?
So what if you were?
And what if I was, right? There's gangbangers that need this, right? And I'm reflecting the community. I'm in the heart of Oakland, okay? So tell me, anybody else, any responses, and you have the microphone, for anybody, any responses to this story before I continue on with it, right here.
I went there.
Where'd you go?
I went there and I met with someone who I stopped going to see, but I would have loved to work with you.
Yes. Thank you. Right. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Anyone else who wants to respond to this story? Back over here. So 1 second, we're gonna give you a microphone. Is that okay? I should have asked you too. My bad, but.
I relate with your story because in my communities, all my friends was labeled as gangbangers when they wasn't, when we just all dressed to follow the culture of music and MTV, BET.
Yeah.
And we was just being judged by people that were pretending like they're not judgmental people and using fancy vocabulary.
Yep.
And using terminology and religion to manipulate.
Exactly.
To keep you from speaking your truth.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Tell me your name.
Janae?
Janae. Thank you. And tell me your name.
Nick.
Nick. Okay, cool. Thank you, Janae and Nick. Last one right here. 1 second. Flo's gonna bring that because we have a cameraman. I think that's you the first Joe or second Joe?
I guess I'm the second Joe.
Second Joe. All right.
It just makes me think, because you said that this person was the director.
sorry, can you start again? I'm sorry.
It just makes me think, because you said that this person was the director, that sometimes people who think they're creating a safe space and like have done clinical work, especially for as long as you're saying they have, don't take into account their own social biases that they may have and how that's the lens that they're seeing other
Exactly.
people and the lens that you would see your client through, or a youth or any other person that you're working with, and like now you're bringing all that into the session.
Yes. And tell me your name.
Bree.
Bree. And I'm gonna touch on that, so thank you for kicking it off. Yes. And last one here, we got Ivy.
I want to say that a lot of times the worst clinicians are just clinicians who cannot change or adapt, who are just 30 years behind. All we do is spout shit that is just old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And are not willing to understand that it's so much bigger than where they grew up or what school they went to.
Exactly. Exactly, boom, right. And you know, and to speak to that, when my first therapist, I was like 23, first time ever wanted to see one, white woman around 65. I sat down, first thing she said was, "Oh, I've never had one of you here before." I said, "You have a good day." Have a good day.
I'm busy that day.
Yeah, okay, right. So, thank you all for your responses because you're touching on pieces. It's a really nuanced example, right? A couple things. One is that her safety was prioritized over my safety in the space. The white folks had the safety to speak up in a way that I couldn't, right? The third thing, which I just forgot, so we're going to keep it going, right? Okay? It's coming back, it's coming back, it's coming back. The fourth thing, there we go, which actually was the third thing, right, was that there's a power dynamic here. She's a clinical, what you're talking about, Bree, right? She's a clinical director who has to sign off on my hours for me to graduate. So if I actually take this to task and up with her, I might not get green-lighted to get my degree, right? So now all of my safety is threatened, right? Emotional, which was what Ivy was talking about, psychological, what Lobs are talking about. Now physical, because I don't want to be in that building with her and walk down the hallway and be awkward, right? So I'll tell you more about how it ended up. We resolved it later on, and I got paid out for it, praise God. But that's a whole different situation, right? So what we're talking about here is this right here. One of my favorite researchers, her name is Aisha Canfield, and she's biracial, queer, feminine presenting, and does research on system-impacted queer youth, right, and captures that data. She was quoted on Code Switch on NPR, and this particular episode was talking about the criminal black lesbian. Where does this damaging stereotype come from? Okay? I was the criminal black lesbian that day. Okay? And so I'm gonna read this here. It says, black queer girls who appear more masculine and black youth who identify as transmasculine are often treated really aggressively by police. Aisha Canfield, policy researcher and analyst at Impact Justice, a juvenile justice reform organization that contributed to the Equity Project research. In Canfield's research, girls have told her stories of cops slamming them against squad cars or fences and saying, if you want to act like a boy, we'll treat you like a boy. Okay? This hasn't changed. Okay? Currently, Aisha's work has also talked about, right, how in California, 50% of the system-impacted girls in particular who are locked up are queer girls of color. Half, right? Half. That's an issue. We're going to keep going because talk a little bit more about Aisha here because that's Aisha Canfield. And she's on a Zoom right now looking. that's her. That's my girlfriend. Y'all not wild by this? Dang! I'm playing. Yes, someone say, hey, Aisha. Hey, Glow, can you show Aisha the crowd real quick? If you're okay with that, look. This is a great love story. Maybe during the Q&A I can give y'all the gossip. But this was the first love, my first love I moved up here for, I was telling you about earlier. We broke up, right? And went our separate ways, got married, and it didn't work out with obviously who we were with. Came back around, and we've been together ever since, and it's been up since then, y'all. So shout out to her. She's still doing this work, capturing all this data for us invisible populations. She's currently a director at Series Policy Research. And also we are doing a webinar in May 29th, I think, around decolonizing leadership and how to capture data so that it can be instituted in the policies that are implemented at work, right? So we're doing that together. All right. So, pulse check. How we feeling? We good? We good. All right. How much more time we got? Okay, we're perfect. We're right on time. So, back to my clinical director, bless her heart, tried to add me on Facebook a while back. I was just like, no, girl. I ain't even on Facebook like that, right? And I deleted it and she tried to add me again. I'm like, you relentless. So anyways, the thing what was happening, and I think that Ivy was kind of touching on this, was that the safety of that space, I thought mental health providers were doing spiritual rituals, right? We're meditating together, we know each other's families and all this, and all of that didn't matter at the end of the day, right? Because you know what? That space, well, she didn't have an intersectional lens on care, right? And the institution didn't have one either, because they hired her and didn't ask and require about this stuff, right? So the next thing here is safety. I love that you all have this theme because safety is so pivotal and crucial and the first step, right? But how do we go beyond safety, right? How do we go beyond safety? And is that possible? Is it possible? About to find out. So to me, authentic safety must have an intersectional lens. It must have one, right? Because the thing is this, if I'm coming into a space, right, and then I take into account that I'm coming in here with all these different pieces to me, right? Maybe I grew up in a group home, right? Maybe my parents are immigrants, right? Maybe I have a disability, okay? All these things are not taken into account because sometimes when I come into a space, my blackness is first, not my queerness, right? Sometimes it's like that, okay? So what we're saying here is that we need to find out how we need to go from safety, right, to being in a transformational space, right? So we need to make that quantum leap all the way over to transformation, right? So that all of our identities are being celebrated in a totality. Not saying that it's gonna be the end all be all, right? But how can we go beyond crisis mode? Like how a lot of nonprofits are. Right? Okay? That's what we're talking about here. So, I want us, and I want you all to do this work, because I don't have the answer to this. And Glow, I'm going to see if you could, you need the microphone, girl. You're all right. Thank you, though. You own it. We're going to take some notes. Because I love that reflection room space y'all had back there. I was meditating, and I'm like, that's well done, right? I don't see that a lot. And so thinking about spaces, I'm thinking about transformational space, I would want something like that in my transformational space. So what we're going to do is I want you all at your tables to come together. You have to write it down, but just talk about what does a transformational space look like, right? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Who's there? Who's not there? Who's curating it? Where is it at? I want us to think about all that. I want us to dream, right, beyond safety. And so at your table, talk to each other. When we come back, Glow's going to capture your notes, and they're going to send it off to your point of contact so you all can have these brainstorming sessions with you. Is that okay? Okay, and we're gonna throw on some music too if we possibly can. I want some Glorilla, but that might be too ghetto for right now. We won't do that. So we're gonna give you all about 10 minutes, okay? And the time starts now. If you can hear me, somebody say, ow. Ow. Y'all did it. I love it. All right, y'all, let's come back. All right, so check it out. Okay, so here are the rules. We have about maybe 3 minutes only because I want to honor the other people and speakers who are up after. And so we're going to ask you when you get on the mic, if you don't mind telling your name and pronouns, if you feel like that's okay, and just sharing briefly for about 30 seconds what you all discussed, and Globe's going to capture it. All right. Any group want to go? Right here. Here we go, Nick. Thank you.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Hi, I'm Angel. My pronouns are he or they, and I'm going to try my best to summarize the many discussions that we had in our group. There's a lot, so let me know if I need to slow down. So one of the things that we thought would bring spaces from safe to transformative is a willingness to be open to communication where we acknowledge power dynamics and also focus on equity. So acknowledging the privileges that we bring into the space and be willing to talk about it in a critical way and acknowledge when we mess up or look at ourselves critically, right? And also if we're finding that some of the topics that we discuss are triggering, like maybe if there's safety that's built into the space, can we examine why something might be triggering for us, and how important it is to build neutrality. Specifically for trans spaces, I think that so much of it is focused around dysphoria and like what is hard about our community and what we need and how much violence is happening to our community. But I think that if we had more spaces that model trans joy, that would be incredibly transformative. And another thing a key thing that we touched on is adaptive spaces, right? Like we can have community agreements, but even as the meeting builds, is there space for these to change, that maybe somebody has something they're not okay with, maybe and maybe that's individual to that person, but it just needs to be built in that there's a way to change that within the space, so it is not limiting. So can we grow within the space?
Love that. Love that. Thank you.
And affirm what people say.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Angel and group. Appreciate it. Give them a hand clap, please. Thank you. And listen, if you all want to share your notes with Glow, please do if you don't get to share, because we would love to capture these. Thank you all. Beautiful, beautiful. Trans joy. All right, one more, 30 seconds, please, and then we're gonna.
The three things that we talked about are a space where people are creating together, so not just collaborating, but creating.
Right.
And people having authentic engagement. So, they're there because they want to be there, and they're there because they are open to transforming things. And Taylor got us into a deep discussion about rest, a space where you can truly rest and let go of things and process or sleep or, just not constantly be thinking about what is the next thing that you have to do.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that rest piece in. We always forget about that. So I like that you all are focusing on rest, joy, right? So thank you, Shannon. Thank you, group over there. And thank you all for participating in that. And sorry we couldn't get into everybody's responses, but like I said, if you want to include anything to give to Glow, please do so, okay? How are folks doing? I wanted to give that some more space and time, but I'm sorry, because in workshop I could, but I can't. So thank you all for participating in that. And I want to start transitioning to the end of this talk. We have an amazing couple of speakers coming up. Kenna, I think that's how I say your name, right? Coming up. I can't wait to learn from Kenna. And so I want to do this. Last two pieces is kind of like what Angel was talking about, how oftentimes we focus on some of the bad stuff that's happening, right? Because it actually is happening still, right? We got to focus on it, but also we want to go beyond it. But a call to action I have for us is that recently, last week, April 3rd, the Trans Latin Coalition in Los Angeles has been receiving a lot of hate, bomb threats and hate mail. They are a leading organization advocating for transgender, gender nonconforming, and intersex Latinx communities. They've received multiple bomb threats. They've received hate mail with anti-LGBTQ rhetoric that is also, and they use religious language to weaponize, how we were talking about earlier, right? And they asked for us, a call to action for us is to, one, stand in solidarity with TGI communities, report any threats or acts of violence against TGI individuals to the authorities. And last but not least, advocate for greater acceptance and understanding of TGI identities. Okay? They're not safe, physically safe. So they cannot transform quite right now, right? And so I just want to name that. And so I want to hold them also in our consciousness. And so as we begin to close out here, I have about 25 more seconds. I want to say that it has been a pleasure being with you all today, and I am ready to learn from you all. I'm going to be here for a little bit, and I want to close out with this quick poem that's by the Grandmother's Wisdom Project. And I've been knowing it for about 4 or 5 years. Every time I hear it or read it, I almost cry, okay? It says, as you move through these changing times, be easy on yourself and be easy on one another. You are at the beginning of something new. You are learning a new way of being. You will find that you are working less in the yang modes that you are used to. You will stop working so hard at getting from point A to point B the way you have in the past. But instead, will spend more time experiencing yourself in the whole, W-H-O-L-E, and your place in it. Instead of traveling to a goal out there, you will voyage deeper into yourself. Your mother's grandmother knew how to do this. Your ancestors from long ago knew how to do this. They knew the power of the feminine principle. And because you carry their DNA in your body, this wisdom and this way of being is within you. Call on it. Call it up. Invite your ancestors in. And as the yang-based habits and the decaying institutions on our planet begin to crumble, look up. A breeze is stirring. Feel the sun on your wings. The Grandmother's Wisdom Project. Thank you all so much.